So this gospel passage makes me ask the question, let me ask it of you, my friends. What are you worth? What are you worth, my friends? Have you really ever asked yourself such a question? Now, I'm not talking about the total dollars you would have if you liquidated all of your assets. That's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about you, the person, the man or woman that you are. What are you worth? I'm guessing that many of us put our own value as being at least equal to, if not higher than that of most other people. And we usually measure that value not on one single factor, but on many. I'm guessing that many of us feel that we're somewhat nicer or kinder than the average person on the street. And we probably think that we have a better sense of humor than most other people. And other people just do not drive as well as we do. If you just look down the street, you notice that. Or do not have as much common sense as we do. And are not as trustworthy, responsible, or hardworking as we are. And I'm pretty sure that none of us would ever consider going to our boss or to the Social Security office and say, you really should be paying me much less. I'm not worth the amount you're giving me. Yes, many of us, maybe most of us, consider ourselves to be worth as much as, and even more than most people. But what are we worth to God, my friends? We just heard one of those gospel passages that makes us want to shout at the top of our lungs, this is just not fair. We heard how everyone got paid the very same amount, even though they all worked different amounts of times. And that really does not sit very well with many of us. It just doesn't seem right. It doesn't seem just. It doesn't seem fair. And if we were one of those workers who put in the most time, yet got the same amount as those who worked just 1 hour, we would not be okay with that, if we're being honest. We'd think, what kind of a crazy, illogical, unreasonable business are you running here? But if that is a really big if we were the ones putting in a full day, if we were the ones who did the most work, if we truly deserved more, if others just did not measure up to us. So this is one of those scripture stories in which the majority of us probably only see ourselves as one character in this story. In fact, it might seem obvious, given that we often have somewhat inflated images of ourselves. So who are we in this story? Well, I know who I want to be. I know who we hope that we are. We want to convince ourselves that we are those laborers who worked the whole day and therefore deserve the most, at least from our point of view. We want to believe that others do not quite measure up to us, that we are the good guys, the ones who are part of the solution, not part of the problem. But the hard truth, my friends, is that we're only one group of this story. But it's not the group we want to be in. You see, each of us in our own unique way is actually one of the workers who put in less than a full day. A worker who does not really deserve the wage with which the landowner chooses to bless us. How can that be, some might ask? Well, it really is not difficult to grasp when you think about it. We each give less than a full day's work every time we cheat someone or act unjustly or fail to be generous And we give less than a full day's work every time that we put someone down or gossip or treat someone with disrespect. We give less than a full day's work every time we fail to act with compassion or fail to forgive or fail to reach out to people who are lonely on the margins of society. And we give less than a full day's work every time we do wrong by a spouse, a child, or a parent, or a friend. Put it quite simply, my friends, we fail to give a full day's work every time we fail to love. That is, every time we sin. Don't deserve a full day's pay? That is not someone else. That is me. And if we're honest, that is you, my friends, as well. So we should really rejoice that we have a God who does not give us what we deserve. We should be eternally grateful that God showers down good things upon us, not because we have earned them or could ever earn them, but because that's just who God is. A God of infinite mercy and kindness and generosity and compassion. We should be grateful that our God only exceeds the love we're hoping for and never, ever comes up short in the love department. In other words, we should treasure the deep truth that our God acts in ways that we ourselves find it so difficult to act. So once again, I ask, what are you worth to God, my friends? In a certain sense, each of us is worth everything to God. The cross shows us that. The bigger question is, what is God worth to us?